Welcome back everyone. Today we are going to New Mexico. Now I'm not 100% sure though, but I think this is the last of the southern US states in this series. I think New Mexico is the very last one. Just like the other states we've looked at so far, New Mexico has some, I want to say, mind-numbingly scary stories. They're the kind of stories that no sane person would even want to hear about. But you guys all requested this one, and I guess we're all a little bit insane, aren't we? This one's for you. My name's Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 scary New Mexico urban legends. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the Haunted Mansion. Mansion, haunting, name a more iconic duo. Oh wait, this ghost story comes from the Luna Mansion in Las Lunas. It was built in 1880 by the wealthy Luna Otero family, and it stayed in their family for the next 90 years. Eventually, they sold it though, at which point it was turned into a restaurant. The new owners began to realize why the family may have sold the mansion though when guests first reported the hauntings. Perhaps that was what drove the Luna Otero family out of the property in the first place. A female ghost is the most common story and consistently appears in accounts of the building. They say she is wearing 1920s clothing and looks incredibly real. Now we're talking real as in she looks like flesh and bones, right there in front of you, not some sort of spectral wisp. The most common place she's seen in is an old rocking chair on the second floor. That's creepy. Investigators have proposed a theory that she is the ghost of Josefina Otero, a former owner of the house who is still sort of tending to the upkeep of the building even in death. She seems to have no interest to interact with the living. She simply sits and walks and sits and walks, eternally locked in the place she once called home. Next up at number 9 now, we have the Ghost Lovers. Legend says that the Double Eagle restaurant in the town of Mesilla is haunted by two teenage ghost lovers. Their names are Armando and Inez. Armando was the son of a wealthy family who owned the house, while Inez was one of the housemaids. The pair fell in love, but when Armando's mother found out, she fired Inez and banished her from the house. The village supported their love and helped them keep their romance a secret from the boys' parents. One day though, the mother came home early and found the two in Armando's bedroom. She was so outraged, she grabbed her sewing shears and stabbed Inez to death. In the struggle, however, she accidentally stabbed her own son. Armando died 3 days later. His spirit joined Inez's spirit in the house, which went on to become the Double Eagle restaurant. These days, the employees and some customers of the restaurant have told tales of their encounters with the ghosts of Armando and Inez, the teenage ghost lovers. Moving on to number 8 now, we have La Mala Hora. In English, that name is translated as the evil hour or the evil one. She is said to be a wicked spirit, an evil demon that wanders the country roads of New Mexico at night. She walks and waits at crossroads until she finds someone traveling alone, then her time comes. She is usually first seen as a sort of large black lump, ever moving, ever changing shape. It can also change size rapidly, growing larger and smalling, a disorientating sight to see. Witnesses have likened this to a ghostly black shroud or a large black cotton ball. Anyone who looks at the evil one is driven insane. They are hypnotized, then paralyzed, and then when they are at their most defenseless, they are enveloped and suffocated. The next morning, the body is found dead at the side of the road. Locals are often reluctant to talk about all of this. Some only refer to it as an evil thing. Those that do talk say that the evil one seldom appears in human form, but when it does, it appears as a wicked old woman dressed in black with long flowing hair. Seeing her is considered to be a death omen. Encountering her is said to be a sign that the person or someone they know is going to die soon. Next up, number 7 now, we have the haunted KIMO Theater. This movie theater opened in Albuquerque in 1927. A year after its construction, Oresti Bachichi, the owner, died suddenly, leaving the theater to his sons. They turned it into a success, bringing in shows to the theater to run alongside the movies. Eventually though, tragedy struck. In 1951, a 6-year-old boy named Bobby Darnell was killed when the boiler in the basement exploded, demolishing part of the lobby. Bobby had been standing on the balcony in the lobby with some of his friends. Suddenly he was scared by something on the screen and ran down to the staircase to the lobby. Just as he arrived, the boiler exploded, taking Bobby and part of the lobby with it. Legend says that Bobby's spirit has remained there ever since. They say he's now a trickster that causes problems during performances. In order to appease him, the cast of a play will actually hang donuts on the water pipes that run along the back wall of the theater behind the stage. Often the treats are gone the next morning, or if there is a donut left, they'll find a tiny little bite mark on it. Moving on to number 6 now, we have the DAWSON coal mine. In 1901, the DAWSON coal mine opened and a railroad was built that linked the new town of Dawson with Tucumcari. The town of Dawson was born and grew. It had its own newspaper, theatre, hotel, hospital, and even a bowling alley. Amazing. On October 22nd, 1913, tragedy struck though when an explosion in the nearby mine killed 263 miners plus 2 rescuers. Less than 10 years later, another explosion killed 120 men. The town didn't fall apart though, it continued on all the way until 1950. When the mine closed in that year though, the company sold the whole town, buildings and all, to be carried off to other locations. All that remains today is Dawson's Cemetery, making it a ghost town in more than one way. Paranormal hunters have been drawn there for the past 70 years. They say they've seen misty apparitions and glowing lights near the cemetery gravestones. Legend says the lights are actually the headlights of the dead miners' helmets. Moving on now to number 5, we have LLORANA. Now some of you may have heard me talk about this in other urban legends videos. It's prevalent across the southern US states and New Mexico is no different. In the New Mexico version, the weeping woman is the ghost of a mother who drowned her children. When she fully realized what she had done, she was overcome with grief. She would not eat and walked along the river in her white gown searching for her boys, hoping they would come back to her. She cried and cried endlessly as she roamed the riverbanks and her gown became soiled and torn. When she continued to refuse to eat, she grew thinner and appeared taller until she looked like a huge walking skeleton. There, by the river, she finally died and her spirit began to walk the same route that she did. Her weeping and wailing became a curse of the night, and the people who lived along the Santa Fe River were too afraid to go out after dark. They say she can still be seen drifting between the trees or floating on the river itself with her long white gown spread out across the waters, and she wails, always wailing and wailing and wailing. Moving on to number 4 now, we have the eternal shootout. In the town of Corrales lies the Rancho de Corrales. It's an old Spanish estate once owned by a man called Diego Montoya. It was bought by a couple, Luis and Luisa Humberto. Now 5 years after their purchase, Luis found out that his wife was cheating on him. Luis killed his wife in a fit of rage, which sparked a gun battle with the locals soon after. He was killed in the exchange, and only then did the guns fall silent. It wasn't long after the burial that locals began to hear echoes of this day around them. Ever since then, legend says the shootout has been going on in this place eternally, forever unresolved, still just as bloody and violent as the day it occurred. People report hearing voices and seeing a woman dressed in 19th century clothing moving through the property. Unfortunately, the building was all but destroyed in a strange fire in 2012. Some say the legend went with it, others say that the spirits will never leave their shootout. Next up at number 3 now, we have the Haunted Insane Asylum, another iconic duo, I guess you could say. This one can be found in Albuquerque's North Valley, built in the 1900s. According to local legends, the facility was once run by an evil, twisted doctor who experimented on patients, even children. This would often result in their deaths. Witnesses say these murdered patients now haunt the very site and that people feel a deep sense of oppression when they're nearby. More than that, some visitors have said the abandoned site is home to a creepy, dark figure that follows them around, the same one that has appeared in photographs over the years. In 2014, the local sheriff's office announced plans to send extra police officers there. Now they said this was because of trespassers, but other people have theorized that the police may have been sent there to investigate the strange goings on, and their silence since then has been quite suspicious. Moving on to number 2 now, we have the Children's Hospital. In 1910, Clyde and Carrie Tingley moved to New Mexico. Over the years, they set about making their dream come true of helping sick children. Carrie Tingley Children's Hospital was opened in 1937 to treat children with polio. However, new medical advancements meant that the hospital began treating children with a wide array of medical disorders, mostly orthopedic and including but not limited to scoliosis, club feet, cerebral palsy and spina bifida. The pain and suffering that the children experienced there is said to have left an eternal imprint on the hospital itself. According to witnesses, you can still hear the sounds of children crying, voices echoing through the halls, and even a heartbeat can be heard in the empty areas. And finally, number 1 now, we have the humming. I love this one. The Taos hum is perhaps the most famous hum in the world. Over the years, residents of the town of Taos have reported hearing a humming sound, a low frequency noise with a rhythmic pulse to it. Many people that live there say it sounds like a faraway diesel engine. It's no laughing matter either. In 1993, the citizens actually petitioned the American Congress to investigate the source of the humming. A report found that most hearers initially experience a hum with an abrupt beginning, as if some device had just been switched on. They say it caused dizziness, insomnia, disorientation, pressure on the ears, headaches, and even nosebleeds. Many of them thought there was some sort of connection between the humming and the US government. They thought they were hearing the sound of a covert military or naval operation. Although Taos has become the focus of the humming research, it's actually become a worldwide phenomenon. Take a look at the full story and see if you have any good theories. Alright, New Mexico done, and like I said at the start, I think that's all the southern states done. Which state next? We haven't done any of the kind of northwestern ones. I'm thinking about Washington, or shall we just do, I don't know, another northern one? What about another country? I was thinking about New Zealand. Why? Why haven't we done New Zealand yet? I've been watching a lot of Lord of the Rings recently, and yeah, just want an excuse to talk about New Zealand. Whatever you want though, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you as always guys for watching. My name is Danny Burke, and I will see you all in the next video.